Let's talk modes on this episode of The Musicist. Hello and welcome to The Musicist. My name is Sage and today we're going to be talking about modes. I know modes are kind of scary. And if you don't know what modes are, quick recap on what modes are, or if you never heard of modes, you have no idea what I'm talking about. Think of a scale, a C major scale. That's C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and then back to C. A mode is a scale built on each one of those particular intervals or what's the word I'm looking for? It's not an interval, it's scale degree. So we have the one that's the C, 2 is D, 3, E, so on and so forth, all the way up to 7, which is B, and then back to C. So modes are scales that are built on each one of those. So say we started on the D. Instead of the C, we go D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D as the next one. So we're just shifting everything over. So instead of thinking of D as the 2, we think of it as the 1. So that's what a mode is generally. The simplified version. It gets a lot more complicated than that. But how do you identify modes? What are the different types of modes that you can have? Very basic. You can have 7. So we'll just go through the main 7, or mainly in Western music, 7 modes. And those modes are Ionian, Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, Mixolydian, Aeolian, and Locrian. That's okay. Those are in order. So if we were to make a scale just off the tonic of C major, those are synonymous, just saying. If we had C as the tonic and we built a scale, and we're going to use all the white keys, we would have C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and then back to C. That's the Ionian scale. That's the Ionian mode. And that's just for an intervallic sequence, just so that you can generalize it to all 12 keys. That's whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. And those wholes and halves are steps or how far on the piano. So it's a whole step is 2 notes on the piano. So if you're going white, black, white, black, white, black, or just the next note immediately to the right, that's a half step. 2 notes to the right, that's a whole step. So if we go from C, there's C sharp or D flat, those are the same thing. Then D, that's a whole step. Same thing with D, D flat, E flat or D sharp, depending on the scale. Just how the cookie crumbles. Then to E, that's also a whole step. E to F, there's no black key in between, so that's a half step. So that's how you make it. Dorian, that's built on the D, so that's on the second I keep forgetting the word. The second scale value. So we're just gonna say that's the one, the tonic. So that goes whole, half, whole, 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 half, whole. Okay, so that's D, E, F, G, A, B, C, back to D. Okay, so the two on the white keys, there are 2 half notes. That's E to F and B to C. B natural to C natural, and E natural to F natural, with no sharps or flats. Okay, so just saying all white keys, no black keys. Dorian, the half note is between the 2 and the 3, and the 6 and the 7. So that's a Dorian. That's whole, half, whole, half, whole. All right, Phrygian. That's if we started on the 3. So for this C major scale, that's starting on the E. So that's half, whole, half, whole. I just want to make sure I did that right. That's half. That's E to F. Whole, half, whole. Okay. Just want to make sure I got that right. There are 3 whole steps, then another half step. Okay, so that would be E, F, G, A, B, C, D, back to E. Okay, so hopefully you're kind of getting it. We're just kind of, it's all the notes of the C major scale, but we're shifting where we start, what we think of as the tonic. Let's keep going. So we have Lydian. That's if we started on the 4, which is in the key of C. That's the F. So F. Okay, so then we would go whole, half, whole, half. Okay, so if you're noticing a pattern here, that we have 3 wholes, then a half, 2 wholes, then a half, and we just shift where we start there. You kind of start to really break down how to create these things. Let's keep going. Mixolydian. So if we start on the 5, now it's a special one because it's the dominant. It's not the most common. However, it's not the most common mode. The most common is the Ionian and the Aeolian. I haven't got to Aeolian yet. That's next, actually, after the Mixolydian. But let's keep going with Mixolydian. So that's whole, half, whole, half, whole. Okay, so remember last time we had whole, half. Now we moved a whole step. So now we start on that one. And so it's whole, half. So that's G, A, B, C. That's the half. Then we have 2 more wholes. So that's C to D, D to E, half. That's F. And then going back to the 5th scale degree, which is the G. That's a whole step. Boom. Okay, now we're on to the Aeolian. This is the second most used, and it depends on the type of genre which is used more. So the Aeolian, that's starting on the 6th scale degree. So in the key of C, that's the A. So that would be whole, half, whole, half, whole. Okay, so that's A, B, C, that's the half, D, E, F, E to F, that's the other half, G, A. Okay, we have one more mode. And that's the Locrian Mode. Locrian Mode is half, whole, half, whole. Okay, so that's starting on B. So that's B, C, D, E, F, G, A, back to the B. All right, so those are the major modes that we use in Western music. I'm, in all honesty, not an expert on my modes. I need to practice those more and get into the habit of using them more. But you can talk about how they sound. They all sound different, even though they're the same group of notes, but depending on where you start and and what you think of as the tonic and the chord qualities or the notes that you usually use are different because you want a certain sound. There's happiness to sadness in relation to brightness. And if you remember a few episodes ago, I talked about Adam Neely and how he has a show. He's talked about that, and he goes way more into depth, and he knows way more than I do. Anyway, I just wanted to get you guys a little familiar and just teach you a little bit about modes. What I know anyway, kind of break down what those were, just in case anybody ever mentions, oh, this is an Aeolian mode, or this is a Mixolydian mode, you'd be able to understand what they're talking about. And if you want to practice your scales and your modes and etc., now you know how to make them. Anyway, if you liked it, please leave a like. If you want to leave me a comment, please leave me a comment. If you haven't subscribed to the podcast, or if you don't check in every Thursday, don't know what you're doing, because you're missing out on some mediocre content. Come on, man. Just kidding. I work really hard on these, and I want you guys to see them. So, until next time, this is Sage, signing off. Bye.